thanks for the time. I mean, we're all crazy busy, so it's tricky to get the time to do this. Added to that, some people came from far away, so to get Simon Fleet literally across the Pacific to get here. And then we also have Patos and across the Atlantic to get here. So there you go, not too bad. And then some of us across the Great Lakes. So I'll see if I can let this speech go. Bear with me.
Help me. Help me. You.
All right, see that reaction? That's not the reaction I want, okay? So look at the desperation in his face, all right? Remember that when you're gonna do this, please. No time on our number. We will go bankrupt in about 3 hours. Clear. So, same routine as always. The number for time is on the local implication report. I had a couple of questions about that. And yes, that has been the norm for Vince Elwood's time, actually. It was his idea. And so no one should have a surprise with that. If somebody gives you a B, have them call me. And then, of course, beyond time, this was the tricky one. And I'm really excited. No joke. Literally, I had every single presentation in. And the only exception was a technical glitch. So thank you for that. That kind of made my life infinitely easier. I can get you this number after, but please take a shot at it. And here's the deal. That's the number. I'll leave it up for a few seconds, but there's one more piece I need help with. I really do. It's this. So there's two things I need you to do next week. I need you to tell me what your expenses are, whether you get them in or not, on Wednesday. That's actually not an arbitrary date. We're so close to the end of the year, I need to know where we're at financially, because we have other commitments that I've literally reserved. And if we end up going a bit over, I don't want us to overrun our budget, so I have to change some things in the future. But I want to know that properly. So if you guys can get me, just let me know if it's Canadian or US, I'll figure out my life. I just need to know where you're at. And then the next piece is if you can really get it submitted by next Friday, like on or before, that would be great. Because it makes a big difference. And what will happen, just so you know, is if it doesn't get submitted in that time frame, there's a chance that some of it might end up in 2024. That sounds crazy, but it actually does happen. And it happened to me once a couple of years ago, and like we literally lost like $18,000 in the next year's budget. Because I had it in this year, but it got sucked into the next year, and we kind of lost money. So I want to try to do this again next year somewhere, right? So that's the goal. All good? That's it?
And go back one more time.
Yep, you can have all the time you want on this. Yes, of course. Of course. Yeah, for sure. And sorry to start like that. It's just it hasn't happened. Because if it doesn't, it gets a little tricky and stuff.
But it's hard.
Well, I guess we are a business, right? And that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
So, Matt, I'm going to hand this over to you.
Do you have on here?
It's all here.
All right, good.
I think it is.
So, did it break already? Starting off well. There we go. All right, so we need to recognize that we are on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh peoples. We need to also recognize that this land has not been treated, and that we are actually guests on this land. So we always start with this, which is a land acknowledgement. How many people here do a land acknowledgement? Or is it part of the culture where they're from? How many people hands? Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So how many people don't know what that was, or have never actually experienced that? Yeah. Okay. So in general, after New Zealand, I think Canada is probably the most progressive in recognizing the fact that we are on unceded territory. We are settlers. We came here after people had been here for a long, long time. So what Canada does, I think pretty well in BC as well, is that before any kind of big event, there's always an acknowledgement of the First Nations, Indigenous, Inuit, Métis, people who were here before the settlers. And so that is just actually written into almost everything we do now. So it's actually kind of normal, but I remember the first time that I heard it, I didn't understand what it was. That's what we do here in BC. we'll talk a little bit more about it later on. Indigeneity is a big deal, and it does actually matter for a bunch of different reasons. This is actually a map from native.ca, which is an amazing site. If you don't know it, this is a map actually of British Columbia. You can't see the borders that you usually see because it's a very complicated overlay of a lot of different communities and peoples that have certain claims, but they're not necessarily always very clear, and the number of people and the diversity of those kinds of people have to be kind of recognized. So this is how complicated it gets, but it's very, very important to understand it. Why does it matter? It's important to understand and respect the culture that we're in as well, but it actually, from a business point of view, makes absolute sense as well. There is a huge amount of work now that's being done with the First Nations to bring them in. There's Truth and Reconciliation is a big, big deal in Canada, and one of the major pieces about Truth and Reconciliation is economic reconciliation. And so these are some of the fruits of the economic reconciliation that's happening just in BC, right? So Jericho Lands, the Brown Ridge Ski Resort, Senac, Netherlands, only a smattering of some of the amazing work that's been done with the Indigenous directly. We're working on a project in North Island, which is actually also working with Comox First Nations. So it makes not only sense, it's the right thing to do because we are in 2024, but it makes economic sense as well from a business point of view. So if you guys get a chance, check out Native CA for what you guys, where you are and who the people are that came before us. In that region. So definitely check it out. It's an amazingly interesting site. You can filter by territories, by languages, you can go in and out, and then from there as well, they can link out to the First Nations people. And so you can understand those people and what they're doing in the area. So there we go.
Wonderful. That's excellent. I'm watching the doors, you can probably tell. And so I might have to pause because I definitely can't go further because it's a trying story from here on in. But we got on the slides, but it's his story. So if you just want to take 2 minutes, I'm going to find out what on earth is going on. And I'll let you know. Sound good?
Yeah.